Hi, everyone. I'm McCarthy, and welcome to session number 3 of the Industry Insider series for the creative health and wellness fields. Today, we're going to be talking about interviewing. So, this is what we're going to go over today. First, we're going to talk about the next steps after landing an interview, and then the next steps after landing an offer. So, starting off, it's important to think about who might be your interviewer. I personally always look up my interviewer on LinkedIn, learn about their background before I'm having an interview if you're lucky enough to know the name of your interviewer, which sometimes you don't. But for a first round interview, you might have either a recruiter or associate. So a recruiter is often there for screening or intro calls, and their job is to just identify candidates who align with company needs. An associate may also be a first or second round, and it's likely someone who was in your position not too long ago. Likely they've shared experiences that you would have if you were to get that position, or they're currently working or have worked in that role that you're applying for. Lastly, a manager. This one's a little more uncommon, but it is common in a final round or a super day. They likely have many years of experience, and they likely started where you're going to start. Now, why are these differences important? Knowing your interviewers can help you tailor your responses and questions. You can create more targeted questions once you kind of know about their background and it shows that you really did your research. And I think you can really get more out of the interview. And when they leave time for questions at the end, I do think this is a crucial part, and asking specific, non-generic questions can really make you stand out. And as you move through each stage, the interviews get more personalized as the company determines alignment. So, starting off with the recruiter interview, they're going to try to see if you're a good fit for the overall role. So, it's important to be yourself. Honesty is the best policy. You don't want something you say to misalign with your resume or your LinkedIn. They'll likely ask you some of the more standard questions, like why you want this job, why you think you're a good fit. So, make sure you have concise answers for these questions. Remember to ask specific questions to the role at the end. Questions specific to the role at the end, as I mentioned before. You really want to make yourself stand out with these, show that you did your research and you care about the position. These are still real interviews, and it's important to make a good impression on the recruiter. Now, the next round might be an analyst trying to see if you're a good fit for the team. Again, be yourself. Honesty is the best policy. They're going to ask you those same types of questions, like why you want this job, why you're a good fit, but they'll also probably ask you deeper questions like how you work on a team, or maybe about a time you learned from a mistake. And this is the point where some soft technical questions may come up depending on the job you're applying for. So, for example, technical positions that involve like data analyzing or coding, things like that, questions may come up. And again, make sure to ask questions. If you know your interview before, look them up and see what they do and tailor your questions around their role. Next, for the final round, if there is one, maybe you only had one round, but if you have multiple rounds, they know that they like you at this point. Now they want to decide if you're the one for the position. Again, be yourself and really lean into the why questions, show that you're passionate, and explain why you're the best fit for this specific role at this specific company. Use stories and anecdotes to help you be technically prepared and really study the company and their values. You might also speak with someone from previous rounds, so make sure you remember them. And again, ask thoughtful questions. In every round, be prepared to answer these questions. Why you? Why this company? Why this role? And then personal growth and relevance. So here are some questions that might go under the umbrella of the why you question, and just good questions to be prepared for. Tell me about yourself. Why are you a good fit for this role? How do your past experiences relate to this role? What makes you qualified for this role? And then walk me through your resume. And then questions that go under the why this company umbrella might be, why do you want to work at this company? What do you know about this company? What is something this company is currently doing that resonates with you? And then why this role? So if it's health science medicine, you want to be able to answer why you're studying that or why you're interested in pursuing that. How did you hear about this position? Why not a different position? And why are you a good fit for this specific role? Then here's some personal growth questions, or situational questions that you might want to have a story for and just be prepared for. So they might ask about your strengths and weaknesses. They might ask about a time you failed, about a project you contributed to, about a time you were a leader, and your favorite work style or environment. So the common theme here is storytelling. So a popular method with this is the STAR method. So you don't want to leave a story open-ended. You want to give a situation, a task, an action, and results. Always make sure you're closing off with results. So here's how to tell your professional story online. So once you've established your goals, you need to develop an easy and quick way for people to understand what kind of job you're looking for and what skills, training, and experience that you bring to the table. And the best way to do this is to be a storyteller. So we can all be storytellers. Your story is a narrative with a beginning, middle, and end that instructs people about your life, your interests, your background, and what you'd like to do. Now, this is how to get your interviewer to root for you by telling a story that is inspiring and genuine, being honest and genuine. This allows you to form a relationship with the person who's interviewing you. And when you let yourself be vulnerable and tell impactful stories, it helps this person advocate for you. The most important part in the storytelling process that can elevate you to this level is genuine care and passion. These qualities shine through the screen. Now, again, think about broader themes to help create an inspiring story. You want to think about problem solving, working with clients and forming relationships, helping people. That's a major theme in health science medicine. So think of major themes in your industry and how you can portray that through your storytelling. Next, you want to diversify your knowledge. So all of these roles are very diverse and will help you to learn new things. So lean into this. And then again, as I've reiterated, asking questions. It's important to be intentional and ask something that can't easily be found online. These should be personalized. It's an opportunity to solidify interest and show that you care and we're listening. So some good ones are, what are the current goals that the company is focused on, and how does this team work to support hitting those goals? What learning and development opportunities will I have in this role? What do you think are the most important qualities for someone to excel in this role? And what do you like best about working for this company? After every interview, it's very important to follow up with a thank you message. This can really make you stand out and show that just it's important to show your gratitude for their time that they took to interview you. Now, there are places at USC online and in person that you can practice interviewing. So on Handshake, USC has resources such as Big Interview, where it's kind of an AI tool that helps you excel in interviews, and it kind of like screens your answers using some sort of AI. That could be really helpful for feedback. You can also go in person to the USC Career Center and do mock interviews, which I've definitely taken advantage of, and I find very helpful because it can kind of pinpoint your weak spots, and it's a great opportunity to practice before the actual thing and not make the actual big interview your very first time performing or practicing the answers to certain questions. And then during the call, make sure to thank them, restate your interest, ask about a letter, like whether you're going to receive like an email or a call back about the next round or about a potential offer, etc. And then after, make sure to follow up and thank them again. And then here are some examples of messages you might send if they give you an offer. These are requests for a specific formal offer letter because you want to make sure that if you do get an offer, you're reading through all the terms and conditions. So an offer letter is a written document that an employer sends to a job candidate to formally offer them a job after they have successfully completed the interview process and have been selected for the position. So offer letters mean that you have been selected, but they're not a binding contract and are conditional. So usually they're conditional on a successful background check that will verify your education, identity, and work eligibility. It is an important step in the hiring process and should be reviewed carefully by the candidate before accepting the offer. Here are some things to look for in the offer letter, just to make sure that everything is there and accounted for. And then here's an example of what an offer letter might look like without all the specifics filled out. Now, next steps in analyzing the offer. Make sure you review that carefully to ensure it aligns with the conversations you've had with the employer. It's important to understand the terms and to ask questions or address any concerns before accepting the job. Once the letter is accepted, it becomes a conditional binding agreement between the employer and employee. Here's what it might look like. This is just another example of a short offer letter this does not include all the details. Typically it would be longer than that with places to sign and everything, but this is just a brief preview. Next, here's an example of how to respond to an offer letter to show your gratitude and acceptance of the position. And then what if you need more time? What if you're juggling between multiple offers and you need an extension on the deadline? Here is an example of an email you might send to ask for more time. And then if you're weighing multiple options, this is another thing you can go to the Career Center with and they can help you out. But let's say it's for an internship. You want to look at if there's an opportunity to return full time. Does it align with your career goals? Are there company benefits? What types of projects do they work on? Are there mentorship opportunities? And does it align with your future career path? And then, of course, you can also think about the compensation. Again, USC Career Center and Handshake offer great guidance and resources for all of these things. So again, here you can make appointments at the Career Center. You can do office hours with any of the industry insiders like myself. But it's important to take advantage of all these opportunities because they're there, and USC has some awesome people who are experts in all things interviewing and the job search. So that's the end of today's session. And that was the last session of the Industry Insider series. So thank you all for joining and reach out to me with any questions. Bye.